that when they turned 30, she'd had both of their names on her cake? Doubtful. Did Justin know that Heidi's friend, Lisa in Phoenix, was Facebook friends with a guy who worked for the event planning company and had the power to score passes for really not that much if you think about what you're getting? Now, how would Justin know any of that? But God/Oprah/the universe must have known, because JT wasn't even touring and still there was to be a concert. On New Year's Eve even. The only actually fun holiday, according to Heidi. The surprise offer had suddenly popped into Lisa in Phoenix's inbox, which set off a mad flurry of last-minute planning and favor-asking. Unfortunately, G/O/U were great at surprises, but not so good at geography, because they'd booked Mom's miracle in the aforementioned Sovereign Republic of Mexico. And they must have been too immortal and invincible to bother researching State Department rules and regulations, because now I'm going to have to drive down to Chicago to get a passport. They can't do the rush ones in Madison. You can't just walk in and pick up a passport. I assumed so anyway. There would be a process and rules, some kind of protocol to foil terrorists and domestic criminals fleeing prosecution, and middle-aged fangirls who decide to leave the country at the drop of a DM as though they didn't have 3 minor children at home. I'm going to drive down tonight and be there when they open tomorrow. They said they can do it same day if you pay more, and it's an emergency. Locke glided into the kitchen. "Who's having emergency?" he asked, unconcerned about whatever emergency we were talking about. He was very chill for an 8-year-old. Witness to a lifetime of Heidi starting fires and me putting them out. Lachlan was oblivious to stress. He took a bag of Doritos from the cupboard. I plucked the bag out of his hands and replaced it with a clementine, nodding to the clock. We had a pact that we wouldn't start on chips until after noon over winter break, and there was still 50 minutes to fill with stuff that wasn't crap. "Mom, if she doesn't get to see Justin Timberlake in Mexico, she's going to die," Karna said. "You're going to drag Locke to Chicago?" I asked. It was almost 3 hours from Larch Leap, plus hours standing around some government office for rush travel documents. I took back Locke's clementine to puncture the peel with my thumbnail. He liked peeling, but couldn't quite start them without squashing them. Heidi looked at me blankly. "Karn and I are going to Malcolm's, remember?" Malcolm was our dad, but not our brother's, something the man pointed out testily any time we mentioned the kid. "We can skip it," Karna blurted. "No, we can't." Make-up Christmas was one of a handful of annual in-person visits to our dads. I'm pretty sure he wasn't any more excited about us coming up to the cabin than we were about going, but he kept careful track of the boxes on the custody agreement he and Heidi had printed off the internet instead of hiring real lawyers. I could blame him for being a subpar father and generally an asshole of a person, but I couldn't blame him for dotting all his I's when it came to Heidi. Give that woman an inch, and she'll take your truck. I mean that literally. Right before I turned 16, Malcolm was late on a couple of checks, and it ended with me getting a dumpy old mini pickup he used to haul small loads of junk or deer carcasses. They used to call those trucks toys, but toys implies something fun instead of something unreliable, inefficient, and embarrassing. It worked out fine for him, though, because the reason he was short on cash in the first place was that he'd bought a brand new F-250. We missed the day he christened it with deer guts. "You should take Locke with you," Mom said. "It'll be fun. You can bring skates." I glared at her over Locke's head. Every part of that was a bad idea. 1, we should not take Locke with us. Malcolm didn't like children generally, which made him a real winner as a substitute teacher and a father, but he hated that kid in particular. It had nothing to do with Lachlan, who was actually pretty great for a second grader. Malcolm regarded our brother as a disease Heidi had picked up after they split. 2, it would not be fun, mostly because of 1.